दोनों तीनों एक ही साल में है, 1 साल के हैं ये बस। ये 1 साल का दोनों ही है, वो बड़ा है बहुत। ये भी किसी ने बच्चे कितने सुंदर दिए, आप देख के हैरान हो जाओगे।
It's the morning of 26th January at the campus of Jawaharlal Nehru University in the south of New Delhi. Teachers, students, and nature alike greet each other at a calm brunch schedule in their simple, almost ritual manner. But rewind exactly 3 months, and the state of affairs was in stark contrast.
There's breaking news coming in. Clashes in JNU campus.
यह बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा है।
हम अपना हक लेके रहेंगे। देश की बात मत कीजिए, 1 मिनट।
I have been brutally attacked by K2 mass.
Just the mention of the now infamous Jawaharlal Nehru University created quite the commotion while on our way to the national capital.
अगर मैं ये कहूँ कि स्टूडेंट निकल के कहते हैं कि भारत तेरे टुकड़े होंगे इंशाअल्लाह इंशाअल्लाह, व्हाट इज दिस? आपके अधिकार वहीं खत्म हो जाते हैं, संवैधानिक अधिकार, जहां आपके किसी दूसरे का संवैधानिक अधिकार डिस्टर्ब होता है। तो आप रोड पर मत प्रोटेस्ट करिए, अपनी ये साइड में करिए, करके रखे हुए।
The numbers help put things into perspective. Going by JNU's annual report, more than 40% of students here come from lower income groups, with some whose monthly family income is as low as 2,250 rupees. The proposed fee hike raises the hostel fee for an average double occupancy room from 10 rupees to 300 rupees a month, along with an additional service charge of 1,700 rupees. This, coupled with the 3,000 rupee mess fee, and it quickly becomes clear why this is a concern for the students.
The fee hike affects not only me, it affects all students in JNU.
जो गरीब छात्र आकर के पढ़ाई कर सकते थे, तो उनका यहाँ पे एडमिशन मिलना काफ़ी मुश्किल हो जाता, या उन लोगों को यहाँ से एक्सक्लूड वो लोग हो जाते। और बहुत सारे जो स्टूडेंट हैं जो अपनी पढ़ाई नहीं कर, मतलब जो फीस नहीं पे कर पाते, उनको अपनी पढ़ाई छोड़ करके बीच में जाने के लिए मजबूर होना पड़ता।
जो भी स्टूडेंट कैंपस JNU कैंपस में आता है, उसका फैमिली बैकग्राउंड क्या है, उसका इकोनॉमिक बैकग्राउंड क्या है, उसकी किस रीजन से आता है, वो मैटर नहीं करना चाहिए। अगर उसके पास टैलेंट है, जो इंट्रेंस क्वालिफाई करके आता है, तो उसके लिए अफोर्डेबल एजुकेशन होनी चाहिए।
If one family, father or mother, he sends their children to the university and they have the budget, okay, I have to send 2,000 rupees per month, then it's okay, I can afford it. But in between, if you introduce that now you from 2,000 you will have to pay 10,000, then no one can afford it. And even and more than, as I told you earlier, that 40% students, according to the administration, they will have to leave. They had no any option. So therefore, this all the protests and the agitations among the students are there.
The idea that students should pay for the services and the utilities that they are being provided, because somehow it is not the responsibility of the government but the responsibility of the students to fund their own education, is something, the very idea of it, that is something that affected all of us. And more than the amount that was being increased, it was the idea, and the amount itself was also very problematic, because the figures that we did some math, and we found out that by JNU's own data, 40% of students of JNU came from low income family background, and they could not afford these hike rates.
While the students stayed coherent in their story despite their respective student body affiliations, polarizing views came forth from more right-leaning groups.
उनके पास आप देखो 1-1 लाख के मोबाइल रहते हैं, एप्पल का मोबाइल रहता है, अच्छी अच्छी जीन्स पहनते हैं, अच्छी अच्छी बाइक पर आते हैं। आज ये इंग्लैंड या अमेरिका में होते तो इनको फांसी पर चढ़ा दिया जाता, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से देश के खिलाफ में बातें करते हैं। वो तो हमारा देश है, हमारी जो मोदी सरकार है जो इनको माफ़ किया है, नहीं तो हमें करनी सैनी को दो हमारे हाथ में JNU, हम एक का सफाया करते वहाँ पर आकर। ये बच्चे बाहर जाते हैं, बाहर जाके बहुत करोड़ों पे करते हैं जाके, बस अपने देश में नहीं देना है।
There are around approximately 8,000 students in JNU, and government is spending again approximately 6.95 lakhs per student in JNU. You can calculate the total amount. Now that doesn't mean that only the students who are enrolled or who want to get enrollment in JNU, they only are the needy people. in a country like India, where 30% population is still living under poverty line, there are millions of students who are aspiring to get proper education, and they will be deprived if the entire government resources or big chunk of it is spent on few institutions. This means that we are taking away the rights of those other students who want to get proper education.
Well-known Supreme Court lawyer and one of the prominent voices opposing the fee hike at JNU, Advocate Prashant Bhushan, gives us his view.
What the government has been doing is that they are saying that we will not subsidize higher education, that the students must pay for their own education, etc., which is totally wrong, because education is an activity which needs to be subsidized, whether it is school education or even higher education, and ensure that good quality subsidized education is available, even higher education is available to all citizens.
The very next evening post this interview, visuals emerged of Mr. Bhushan being detained by the Delhi police over charges of gathering without permission near India Gate. Back in Mumbai, we asked students from the local Mumbai University, a similar government-aided institution with moderately high fees, how their university experience has been.
No extra facilities was not provided to us. There was we were just having our own lab, but we had to pay for those things also. But there was no extra facilities was given by our college. And I don't think so there is any scholarships in our college.
Yeah, we get good toilets over here. We get cold water over here. Yeah, we have got some good canteens over here. That's enough for that much of fees.
Among all the opinions, there seemed to be a common trend of the state skimming funds meant for financial aid and facilities in public institutions across the country. So, why is a mere fee hike the cause of a major student agitation, government backlash, and national concern?
If you have a 5-year budget with a huge money, then you can plan something. Now that is gone. You get money for every budget year, and that will be only a small money, right? So therefore you can't do that. It is clearly showing that the government is withdrawing money because of the JNU structure. If you look, those who come from a very disadvantaged and marginalized section and can have an affordable fee are the one who can challenge the system. The government wants to withdraw all public funding. If they withdraw their funding, then from where the funding will come? Either it has to be put on the shoulders of the students, or some other resources from some other means has to be tried. If you are able to hike fee in JNU, you can hike fee anywhere in the country in any university. I think that is where I see it is being experimented here first. Because we can protest and student can protest in JNU. Such kind of protest you will find rarely elsewhere. So this is a test case. I think they have failed in this test case.
A large number of students who are now able to study in JNU would not be able to afford this. And this would result in the long run in a significant change in the composition of students that JNU gets, and therefore also in the kind of impact a university has on society.
So education has to be free. Education is a right. Higher education is a right. But if these trends keep up, we will be a country where we will be only producing young people to serve as labor for the international market, and that's what Make in India means. Look at the shift from Made in India to Make in India. Just from the point of view of democracy, it's going to be disastrous from the point of view of if we have any idea of sustainable development, it's going to be disastrous. This government, but also the previous government, has an idea of making education private, transforming education from a public good into a private business-making venture.
That is true. Private university migration is a growing trend among students wanting to pursue a higher education. According to World Education Services data, what made up 4% of all university applications in India in the year 2009 grew to 8% in 2017 and is still on the rise. Private universities run on a commercial model where the university essentially acts as a service provider and the students customers. These universities are supported by various private bodies and societies and must be recognized in the University Grants Commission Gazette to operate. Private universities in India are well known for their lavish campuses with self-professed state-of-the-art amenities. The question that arises thus is whether private university education is superior to its public counterpart.
Because private, the regulations are different. So in private universities, say in a Jindal University, approximately 17 to 18% of the faculty is from abroad. There are basic questions that I see my students opting for, which is the infrastructure, which is, good classrooms, good hostel rooms, good facilities, 24 hours of air conditioning, etc.
A lot of state-of-the-art kind of facilities have been provided to us, whether it's residence or the place where we eat our food courts or the sports block or anything in general. Proper cleaning is conducted, and there's in a way room service provided that you can call the maintenance guys.
And the facilities are always kept extremely clean, I think, and there's people who work, unfortunately there's people who work 12-hour shifts actually every day in order to make sure that the residences are clean.
We've got like a couple of pantries on every floor,
Yeah.
and a couple of balconies also.
Yeah, like 2-3 balconies on each floor, pantries, you've got hot water coming in for 6 hours altogether every day. The common rooms are also quite in very good shape. Like you've got nice seating areas. It's quite comfortable.
On surface view, a private university degree looks like a viable alternative to government-funded education. But one might change their mind when one considers the exorbitant costs incurred, funded on the most part by the students.
Actually, in terms of fee structure, the fee varies from around 5 lakh per annum for courses in social science. And of course, there are by now 8 different schools at the university. So there is liberal arts, there is law, which is the largest school. Then there is journalism and communication. Then there's banking and finance. So there are various other schools. And the highest fees is for liberal arts and undergraduate degree in liberal arts. That's close to almost 9 lakh per annum. There are merit cum means scholarships that are well advertised. And merit cum means scholarships are given in slabs. So the concession may be ranging from 20-25% of the fees to 100% of the fees. That depends on an application basis, that depends on an yearly review of academic performance and other performance in extracurricular or co-curricular activities. So that's the range.
It's quite expensive actually. If you're not here on scholarship, like a lot of people get a lot of people do get need-based scholarship, but we have our questions about how much of it is need-based for certain people. Because like little T on Ashoka, I think there's some people who may have less finances, who may be getting less scholarship than people who may be richer than them. But it's really weird. And the thing is, they don't really show us the document. Like it's not public information, so nobody knows. Is there discretion?
Not very transparent.
Yeah, and
I mean, I'm on financial aid.
Yeah, we're both on financial aid.
So I pay half the fees.
Yeah, we both pay half the fees.
To be able to afford a higher education seems to have become the core cause of a nationwide student movement. Many other institutions such as Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Hyderabad, Uttarakhand Ayurveda University, Indian Institute of Mass Communication, Delhi, and the Film and Television Institute of India, among others, have faced similar fee hikes and staged protests. Due to limited coverage by the media, these have hardly come to light, making JNU the center of national attention. When questioned about the coverage of such issues, here's what the media had to say.
The difficulty in coverage is not so much about what are the threats on reporters in the field. The difficulty of coverage is that do we currently have enough media houses who are willing to speak truth to power? Do we have enough media houses, especially in the mainstream media, especially among the TV channels, who can say it like it is? Or do we have most of the big channels completely towing the establishment line on whatever the establishment feeds them. Effectively working not as news channels but as propaganda channels, right? Extensions of the state machinery. So when something like JNU happens, why are there questions not raised of the Delhi police's involvement? The challenge facing the media is to be able to have the integrity to report truth to power in the face of intimidation from the Modi government. The Modi government has continuously and consistently intimidated any media organization that tries to speak truth to power, and as a result there have been organizations that have not been doing it as vociferously as they should have been. Just by virtue of being honest and having the integrity to speak truth to power, we automatically differentiate ourselves from a large section of the mainstream media which is just blatantly refusing to do so.
Whenever we go on the field, they start heckling us, but they must understand one thing, that we are just doing our jobs. We give it a extensive coverage. We wanted to show the kind of concerns they had, because yes, I know that there are many poor students also inside the JNU campus, so who cannot afford this fee structure. Why since beginning we are saying that it's Gundagardi, because we have evidence, we have video proofs of JNU SU President Aishi Ghosh. She herself was leading a mob inside JNU campus. I have that video proof, and on that basis only it was said. There was no, we did not have our own views. It was only and only on the basis of the video proof which was available. I don't want to call them anti-national, but yes, the kind of posters which they were holding in their hands like Free Kashmir, that's not at all acceptable in our civilized society.
Coverage has been more than adequate in the sense that they've given so much coverage, but it's not been fair at all. But we also know that television houses, media houses are completely bought and controlled by the BJP. So the television has been extremely biased and skewed, and we know that, and they've lost all credibility except for, NDTV, Ravish. It's just, they've lost all credibility, and one day they will be held to account. The Sudhir Chaudharys and the Arnab Goswamis of this world. But as far as the print media is concerned, the English print media has been, I think, reasonably good. In terms of coverage, the Indian Express, the Hindu, Times of India, Hindustan Times even, I think there's been good and reasonably fair coverage in the English media.
All the debates, deliberation, protests, politics, violence, vandalism, boycotts and court hearings considered, it all comes back to one simple question. Can the students afford a fee hike?
No. नहीं कर सकते हम क्या हमारे देश के 90% लोग नहीं कर सकते. I come from a not a very well-to-do family. Yes, I know like 5 people who have to drop off. तो अभी वो 1 साल बाद रिटायर होंगे. तो मेरे पास इनकम का इतना सोर्स नहीं है.
Yeah, I was actually in a private university in Pune, Flame University, and then I exited after the first year.
It's not कि I can afford or not. It's about कि government should provide affordable education to everyone.
There's a word called Antyodaya. I just wanted to say that Antyodaya means the lastest of the last. So as a welfare state, we need to reach not up to the last, but the lastest of the last person. That's what equality of opportunity in letter and spirit says.
शिक्षा के हक की लड़ाई आज हमको लड़ने दो, सरकार हमको पढ़ने दो, देश को आगे बढ़ने दो। रोजी रोटी की उलझन में डोनेशन हम कहाँ से लाएं? नीति आपने ऐसी लाई आधी आबादी पढ़ ना पाए। शिक्षा को रुपयों में तोले ऐसी नीति तोड़ने दो, सरकार हमको पढ़ने दो, देश को आगे बढ़ने दो। मार्केट का शिकंजा देखो, यूनिवर्सिटी भी विदेशी है, अमीरों को मिले एडमिशन, बिल्डिंग मॉल जैसी है। यूनिवर्सिटी की सीढ़ियों पर गरीबों को भी चढ़ने दो, सरकार हमको पढ़ने दो, देश को आगे बढ़ने दो। केजी से लेकर पीजी तक मकौली ही दिखता है, डिग्री होल्डर होकर भी कार्टून जैसा दिखता है। लाचार नहीं इंसान बनाए ऐसी शिक्षा पढ़ने दो, सरकार हमको पढ़ने दो, देश को आगे बढ़ने दो। मनुस्मृति का पाठ पढ़ाए, शूद्र कभी ना शिक्षा पाए। भेदभाव की समाज नीति, लड़की कभी ना स्कूल जाए। ज्योति सावित्री की राह पर कदम हमारे बढ़ने दो, सरकार हमको पढ़ने दो, देश को आगे बढ़ने दो। अज्ञान के अंधेरे से आज हमको लड़ने दो, सरकार हमको पढ़ने दो, देश को आगे बढ़ने दो।